Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 8th webinar on our Relationships Matters programme. Next slide, please, Nikki. My name's Gemma Ozat-Marshall, and I am the Gateway Coordinator for our Reducing Parental Conflict programme here in the North East. And I'm with my two colleagues here today who's part of this webinar. So if I hand over to Jo, so she can introduce herself.
Thank you. My name's Jo Wilkinson. I'm a team leader for Action for Children.
I'm Tammy Watson, Family Support Worker for Action for Children.
Thanks, Jo and Tammy. Next slide, please, Nikki. Just a reminder, we are going to be taking questions and answers. So if anyone's got any questions throughout the webinar, please put them into the Q&A box. And at the end of the webinar, we will we'll read out the questions and we will answer them together as a panel. So just a little reminder, any questions that you've got throughout the webinar, please put them in the Q&A box. Thank you. So our Reducing Parental Conflict programme, it's called Relationships Matter here in the North East. We've been up and running since the summer of 2019. And when we first set out, what we wanted to achieve was to introduce face-to-face evidence-based interventions which reduce parental conflict and ultimately improve outcomes for children. And what we've done to do that is we've supported couples to identify conflict in their relationship. We have grown and embedded the choice of evidence-based interventions to bring out change for couples in their conflict. And what we've done as well is we've provided insight learning and evaluation to understand which interventions work when we support parents who are going through that conflict in their relationship. And ultimately, what we all want to do is to improve outcomes for children and young people. So we're really proud of our programme. We've had over 1,500 referrals to date. That's included over 300 different frontline practitioners who work in the North East. 380 parents have completed an intervention, and 292 of those parents have actually completed that intervention since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic back in March 2020. Our referrals come from 90% of the 10 local authorities which are part of our programme, which I will speak to you about shortly. 83% of parents who have completed a post-assessment questionnaire have said that they are happier in their relationship, which, you know, is exactly what we want. That's what we want to do. We want to improve people's relationship and their communication. Throughout the pandemic, we have continued to work with parents online, so virtually, and what we've done is we've given devices that we've been able to loan out to parents for them to take and for them to participate in the interventions. We continue to work effectively in partnership with myself at the Gateway, with our regional integration lead, which is Kim Kyle. Some of you who might have been on the webinars previously will know Kim. We work really closely with our providers, so that's Relate, Changing Futures North East, who are down in Hartlepool, and then Action for Children, who is part of our webinar today. Next slide, please, Nikki. So our programme works with 10 different local authorities. We split the areas between the north of the region and the south of the region. So in the north of the region, we've got Durham, Gateshead, Newcastle, Northumberland, South Tyneside and Sunderland. And all of the referrals that come through from those local authorities, our provider who completes that intervention with parents is Relate, who's based in Newcastle, and Action for Children as well. However, in the south of the region, so the local authorities, Hartlepool, Middlesbrough, Redcar, Cleveland and Stockton, all of those interventions are delivered by Changing Futures North East, who are based in Hartlepool. So that's the local authorities that we work with. And just a little information in regards to the eligibility for the parents that we work with. There is no cut-off age in regards to, you know, the parents that we work with. So we're not saying that parents need to be 18 years old for us to work with them. You know, we can work with young parents, teenage parents, that's absolutely fine. What we do have a little bit of eligibility on is in regards to the ages of the parents' children. So we can work with those parents up until their child turns 18 years old. Excuse me. If, however, the parent's young person has a disability or an educational healthcare plan, then we can work with those parents up until their young person turns 25. We work with those parents who are either together or separated. So, and that also includes those parents who are expecting a child as well. So we don't physically need baby to be born for us to work with those parents on their relationship and their communication. We can also work with those parents who are expecting a child. We do need at least one of the parents to either work or be open to services in one of our 10 local authorities, which I've just explained to you previously on the previous slide. It doesn't matter if you have one parent that, say, for example, lives in the northeast area, but you might have one parent that lives out of the county or possibly lives down the country. That's absolutely fine, as long as one of those parents lives within the local authorities that are part of our programme. We can also support those parents and carers who have got special guardianship order of the children, and those parents who might have adopted and foster carers as well. So, you know, if any kind of foster carers that you come across on your work, then we can definitely support those with their relationship. Next slide, please, Nikki. Just a quick reminder again about our Q&A box. Any questions that you might have had from anything that I've shared about our programme so far, any questions in regards to eligibility, please put it in the Q&A box, and as soon as we've finished our presentation, we will come over to the questions and get them answered for you. So I'm going to pass on to my colleagues, Jo and Tammy now, who's going to speak about our new and improved Incredible Years Advanced Specialist Intervention. Thanks, everyone.
That's great, thank you, Gemma. And just with the questions as well, if there's any questions while I'm talking or anything around the Incredible Years Advanced course, if you can put them in the box as well, and we, as Gemma said, we'll talk about that afterwards, so thank you. Okay, so the Incredible Years Advanced course is part of the Relationship Matters. It's one of the 4 interventions that are currently being delivered. It's a 12-week course for parents who have a child who is aged between 4 and 12. The course uses video clips to help illustrate effective communication techniques. It also identifies communication blocks like not listening, storing up grievances, and having angry explosions. The programme gently guides parents through each step. It allows the parents to try the techniques that we talk about during the sessions and give feedback for any difficulties that they're encountering each week. The videos are a particular effective part of the programme. It allows parents to look at real life scenarios, looking at how that they play out and how that they can be managed. It's delivered in a relaxed manner. We spend time getting to know the couples, really exploring their needs and give them a chance to talk about what they want to get out of the sessions and their aims and goals. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, so who can participate? So the course, the Incredible Years Advanced course, is delivered to couples who are separated or intact. However, we have found that it does work slightly better for couples who are intact. So it's for couples who have talked about having different upbringings that have led to them now having different parenting styles. Couples who deal with the children differently and have trouble understanding the other parent's approach. For example, one parent might be really quick to tell the child off, putting in place rules and really quick to put in place consequences as well. Whereas we might find that the other parent is preferring to focus on like positive behaviours and prefers to redirect the child's behaviour. So we explore that with couples and explore the things, their upbringing and why that's led to the different parenting styles, and really just help them to understand the other person's point of views. So it's for couples who have talked about that they don't feel listened to by their partner, or that the partner undermines them or takes over. Thank you, Nikki. So the Incredible Years Advanced course has changed quite a lot since we started. So back in June 2019, we were attempting to deliver the preschool or the school age programme, which is a 14-week positive parenting course. And then after that, we were following this on with a 9-week advanced course. So it was 23 weeks in total, which, as you can imagine, this was a really big commitment for parents. And in turn, we were having quite a low take up. And also we were having a high dropout as well when we were running the preschool, the school age course first. The feedback from couples was that they really wanted to start by looking at the communication, because that's why they've been referred into this programme. So we talked to the intervention owner, and she agreed back in February this year that we could trial running the advanced course as a standalone course. So that's a 12-week course. And when we discussed this, it was so we started discussing it back in February, but obviously with the pandemic, that's when we continued the discussions. And the hope was that we were offering the opportunity to evaluate how we can specifically help and support families to manage conflict and stress and strengthen their resilience and problem solving during the global pandemic. So the pandemic, as I'm sure a lot of people on here can relate, has really changed the way that we have been delivering. So we moved to online delivery, which was really new for us. We hadn't actually considered doing that before. Before, we were doing mainly group work in venues. So this was really challenging to start with, both for us and for parents. Obviously, at the start as well of the pandemic, parents were dealing with homeschooling. They were dealing with the stress and the worries of the pandemic, or possible changes with work and understandably uncertainty. So bearing in mind it was difficult at the start. However, now couples are really embracing the delivery online. We found that couples prefer to take part on their own rather than in a group, and that's so mostly we are delivering to couples on their own at the moment. They're preferring, with the online delivery, they're preferring that they don't have to go out to a venue and the time that would take, and also we're able to tailor it to a time that suits them, and most of the time we can change it if they've asked, if circumstances have changed or something's come up that week and they've asked for the time to change or the day to change. Doing it online, it's a lot easier to be able to adapt to that, whereas I've managed that. So sorry, a message just come up saying that my internet's unstable. I've not seen that before, so if anyone has any trouble hearing me, then if you could please let me know. Okay, the next slide, please. Thank you. So during the advanced course, parents will learn ways to work together. We've had feedback from parents to say that after taking part in the course, they are finding they are working much more as a team, and the children are seeing this. We look at effective listening skills, how to speak up effectively about problems, how and when to express feelings, problem solving skills, and avoiding communication blocks such as not listening, storing up grievances, and angry explosions. The course starts by looking at active listening, and we use videos to identify when someone is not listening and the impact that this has on the listener. The listener would often, when they're feeling not listened to and not having their feelings validated, this will have a really negative impact on them. So that's why we start with this. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples now of the videos that we use with couples. So he responds with empathy and concern. He validates her feelings and encourages her to tell him more about her difficult day. In the first vignette, the wife has become more angry following the conversation, and in the second, she is much calmer as she feels listened to. So that's just a bit of a taster really around how the videos are used. So we'll show a video to a couple, then we'll talk through it, and then that would lead the discussion really, and the learning of the different subjects throughout the week. Okay, the next slide please. So within each session, afterwards we ask couples to do some like home tasks to practice what they've learned during the sessions. So this is an example of refrigerator notes about active listening, and this is really to help and remind couples what they've learned from the week, and also encourage them to use them. So for the home task for the active listening week, we ask them to practice active listening with their partner, child, or a friend, remembering to allow the speaker to finish, listen to the content and feelings of the speaker, and also remembering to validate their feelings. The feedback from this home task by a father that I'm currently working with, he's about halfway through the course, but this week and the active listening really rang true for him, and he's learned a lot about it. So he's talked about and he used it specifically with his son, and he feels that now he's listening to his son without interrupting. He feels that this is making his son much calmer, as he used to get really angry with him. He feels that he's talked about getting his bond back with his son, and it's really changed their relationship. His son has asked him to plan some activities for them to do together and spend more time with him. So just by practicing that active listening communication technique with his son, it's really improved their relationship, and it's really improved their bond. Okay, thank you. So this is examples of each week. So we start with active listening, and then we move on to look at speaking up. So we talk to couples about using I messages, not you. So I would like more help with, instead of you never helped me with. We talk about asking how and what questions that focus on getting the problem solved, whereas why questions leads to accusations and defensiveness. We move on to talk about negative self-talk and how this can affect your behaviour, and given strategies to increase positive thinking. And then we end to look at how parents can problem solve together, teaching children to problem solve and including children in problem solving meetings. Okay, thank you. So this is some feedback that we've recently got from a couple who've just finished the course. So during the initial, so I've changed the names for confidentiality. During the initial session, Jennifer talked about often feeling stuck in the middle between her son Charlie and her partner. They both described the feeling in the house being really tense, and the ultimate goal was for it just to feel happier. During one of the weeks exploring feel and talk and the possible differences in talking to either girls or boys, this led to some really important discussions around their individual upbringings. And they were really, really different. So this then led to talking about their parenting styles and how their upbringing has led to different parenting styles. And I really feel like it was a turning point for the couple to really have an understanding of the other person's point of view. And that's really helped with the following weeks looking at communication. So the feedback from this couple was, sorry, I can't see the full screen. So we are communicating much better now, that they feel that there's not as much tension in the house. They also feel that they are united and as working a lot more as a team when they're speaking to Charlie. They feel like Charlie is much happier, that he's got his chance to talk, and that he's not as frustrated and he's not getting as angry. So it's the couple talked about the incredible years being systematic approach, and they talked about how it moves through the weeks rather than in previous support. They were given different techniques, so to try this one, and then if that didn't work, try another one. Whereas they felt that this course like built on each ideas and techniques, and that they enjoyed the videos, and they found the book really useful as well. So I'm going to finish by playing a recording of some feedback that we recently got from some parents.
I think it's given us more time out of, you know, a hectic, busy lifestyle where you don't get time to sit back and reflect on specific things that have happened. So it's allowed us that opportunity to do that on the back of some, you know, pertinent bits of learning and raising awareness of behaviours and how to interact more, well, how to take into consideration, I suppose, our child's behaviour and how to manage it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's provided some sort of structure, hasn't it, with communication, mainly towards the children. You know, sometimes it has been difficult. Well, we know it has been very difficult, and it's about knowing how to manage the communication really at the time, and that's where the course has been certainly very helpful for me.
I think we're more aware, we've learned some strategies, we've tried to kind of reflect on, you know, incidents where perhaps, you know, they didn't go the best way, and, you know, maybe I don't know whether maybe we've not done this together, but I've certainly, in my head, I thought, you know, I could have handled that differently, or David could have handled that differently.
I think what we've learned on the programme has helped our communication skills. Definitely with speaking to our son, you know, so it has been very, very helpful. You know, we're going to have to speak to him after this, though, aren't we? So,
yeah.
So we'll just.
Yeah, but we need to decide what we want to get out of that meeting, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to pitch it right, I think.
Absolutely.
To get the right outcome. You know, that's where the training comes in. Where, you know, before it would have been a bit of a knee-jerk, right? You know, let's sort this out now. No kind of prior thinking or planning as to, you know, how we're going to say it, what we're going to say. What we want to achieve, and, you know, I think with a bit of time and planning, you know, we'll hopefully get a better outcome than if we've just gone in and addressed the behaviour, and not really thinking about what's behind the behaviour, what are the thoughts, what are the feelings that have triggered the behaviour.
No, to be fair, I think all of it was useful. I mean, sometimes it was almost sort of. It was the structure, I guess, in everything, but it just gives you an opportunity to think about how you interact with your children, how you communicate with your children, how they perceive you, how you might think they perceive you,
how you interact with each other as parents. Yeah. And, you know, they're watching everything that you do, and, you know, they're like little sponges, aren't they? And, you know, they see the way you interact with each other that might not necessarily be the best way. Well, that's just going to be a learning point for them, a bad learning point.
I think having the individual sessions for us definitely helped.
It worked for us. I think, you know,
we weren't so reserved. We were able to freely say what we thought and spoke. Whereas in a group,
I don't think we would have. I don't think we'd have been as open to sharing
our sort of family problems.
Oh God, no.
My advice to anyone wanted to go, well, to anyone who was considering the program, was to engage with it and take part, because, you know, there's lots of things there that have helped with communication, and also made you think about the way you talk and behave, you know, which affects the whole family dynamics. You know, I guess, you know, it's helpful, isn't it? It's there to help you.
Thanks for that, Jo and Tammy. Really useful. Has anyone, sorry, Nikki, are you going to come on and read some of the questions that we've got in the Q&A box?
Yeah, thanks for all of that. We've got some really good questions in here. So from Margaret, has asked if the programme will be available for everyone, including Middlesbrough, as the Advanced Incredible Years has never been run here, whereas CAM's run an Incredible Years, but not the Advanced programme.
So in regards to the Relationships Matter programme, the Reducing Parental Conflict programme, yes, absolutely, it is available for those parents who live in the Middlesbrough local authority, and that intervention will be delivered by Changing Futures North East and Hartlepool. In regards to the specific question around would the Incredible Years Advanced be available for those parents, Jo, I'm going to come to you for you to answer that question, if that's okay.
So I think it runs a little bit differently in terms of for us, for Action for Children, we've been given permission from the intervention owner to run this trial. However, there's some scope in terms of if there was a specific couple that you had in mind that we could look at how that could be delivered. So if you did have someone in mind, I would recommend that you speak to the gateway around that couple, and we would look, and if it was Incredible Years Advanced that you did want to be run with the couple, that you would mention that and would look into doing that.
I think we're trying to be as flexible as possible, aren't we? Because if we can deliver it online digitally with parents, then it doesn't really matter where they live. Well, they need to be in one of the local authorities that the programme supports, and most of them are in the programme. So I would just have a discussion with Gemma and the partners, and we'll definitely try to accommodate it.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Margaret. Another question from Melanie: how are families referred to the service?
So all of the referrals come through the gateway, which is where I sit within the programme. What you are going to get when we finish going through the Q&A box is a link into our like a link onto our programme, and on there we'll have my contact details. So if you make contact with me outside of the webinar today, I can send you our referral stage questionnaires, because I appreciate we haven't really spoke about them on this webinar, and I can go through those referral stage questionnaires with you in regards to what it is that I would need you to do as the frontline practitioner making that referral for those parents, and then we can talk through the referral process. So any referrals you would like to make and you're unsure how to do that, please click on the link that you're going to get following the Q&As, and that will put you through into contact details with myself, and then if you make contact with me, we can look at how we can process those referrals and how you can make those referrals. But all of the referrals do come through the gateway, which is where I sit.
Thanks, Gemma. Actually, Denise is asking, will we be sent the slides? And yes, we will be sending the slides out, and that will have the link to the referral gateway page on it. And we're recording the session as well. We need to edit it a little bit because copyright means we can't show the vignettes, but we're going to try and edit that out. So yes, you will get a copy of the slides, Denise. Thanks for asking. A good question here from Catherine. Would this help parents struggling with an autistic child?
That is a really good question.
Yeah.
Jo, do you want to answer in regards to the Incredible Years Advanced programme?
Yeah, so yeah, it would be really good for parents, and I think as well one of the sessions is around speaking to like confidence in speaking to other professionals as well, and like the school and school meetings. So it's really good and can give parents the confidence with doing that. But also we understand that having a parent who's either child has recently been diagnosed or is currently being diagnosed is really stressful for parents, and any extra stress can cause difficulties in terms of the way that they're communicating. And I think this is really good to help parents with that, to understand how each is feeling and to help them to communicate more positively. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, just to add in from what Jo said, we do get a lot of referrals come through to the gateway for those parents who are struggling with kind of their communication and being on the same page in regards to their parenting and co-parenting, for those parents where their children have got some kind of diagnosis. So we do support a lot of those parents that come through where their children have had a recent diagnosis of autism especially, and also ADHD.
From Carol is asking, is the delivery content on the IY website, or do they need to buy the new material? Would you know that, Jo?
Yeah, so there's a little bit on the website, but it's a separate content. So you've got the preschool, the school age, the babies, and then the advanced is a separate content package. So has it got a separate folder and separate videos or kind of, I think they're now on a USB as well. But yeah, it's a totally separate course. So there's training as well, separate training to do with the advanced course.
Carol had asked as well, do we need additional training to run the sessions? So I guess there is separate training for the advanced course as the basic. Is that right, Jo?
Yeah, that's right. So for the advanced, we're trained in that separately, giving us techniques and tools of how to deliver it effectively. I assume that some of it might have moved online actually, so it might be a bit easier to get trained into that now. But it was a really good training, so I would definitely recommend it if anyone was going to take that forward.
And Marianne is asking if there is a charge if the parent is in work.
No, there's no charge to parents for any of our specialist interventions. So not only the Incredible Years Advanced, but any of our other interventions for the Relationships Matter programme. So, you know, regardless of whether or not parents work or don't work, the service is free for all of those parents and carers.
And there's one final question from Emma. Are these online sessions still done with groups or on a one-to-one basis?
So at the moment we're doing it to like couples individually, because that's what couples are requesting. We could do it in a group if we had enough couples that were interested. However, we are finding that couples are preferring it for it to be just them. I think it's a combination of them being able to talk more around their personal circumstances and talk more about how things are for them, and also it's timing as well. When it's just the couples, we can really accommodate their time and when they want to take part, but it's possible, but it's just that we're not getting the take up for it. We are finding that couples are preferring for it to be delivered to just them.
I think that's all the questions. If anyone's got another question, feel free to put it in the box. If not, then I'll put the final slide on. Can I say thanks to Tammy, who's been doing the sharing of the video, but she's absolutely loaded with colds, so she didn't want to say anything. Thank you, Tammy. I hope you feel better soon. And thanks to the panel as well. I'll just put this final slide on.
Yeah, so our Relationships Matter programme does have its own Twitter page and feed. So if anyone's on Twitter, please feel free to follow us. We are Relationships NE, and that feed is updated quite regularly as well. So if anyone has got Twitter, feel free to follow us. The link on the following one is the referral gateway page. So if you click on that, that's where you're going to get contact details in regards to getting in touch with myself, so I can support you in regards to any case discussions where you might just want to give me a ring, and we can have a chat about any families that you're thinking about which may benefit from this, but you're unsure whether or not they would qualify. You know, feel free to give me a ring. I'm more than happy to do any case discussions with anybody, and you'll also kind of get contact details there in regards to where you can send the referral forms to if you do make a referral. And then the final link is our Reducing Parental Conflict online community. But as Nikki did share, you will get the slides, so you will have access to all of these links when we get sent out to everybody who's attended today.
Just one final question, if that's all right. Karen is asking, is there a large waiting list?
So In regards to the referrals that come through to the Gateway, so for the Relationships Matter programme, once I've processed it at the Gateway, within 5 to 7 working days, it will be allocated either at Relate or Changing Futures North East. And then following that, that's when they begin their initial assessments with parents, and then it's decided on then which intervention with the parents they would like to take part in. So I guess it depends in regards to what intervention parents are going to be taking part in. So say, for example, Joe, you're probably have got a better understanding of this than me. So if a group's just started taking place, then parents may need to wait a little while until the next group starts. But within 5 to 7 working days, once it's left the Gateway, it will be allocated at the provider for a family worker to begin their initial assessment with those parents.
Thanks, Gemma. I think that's all the questions. Thanks everyone for coming along, and we'll send out a note when we're going to have another webinar in the new year sometime. We haven't decided on when that's going to be yet, but it will be in 2022. So thanks again, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of the week, and see you all soon. Thanks, Gemma. Thanks, Joe.